Hello. New network technologies are emerging to meet the needs of enterprises undergoing digital transformation. But what are they? How do they work? And what will happen to older technologies such as MPLS? I asked a range of industry experts to find out more. What do you see as the most compelling new technology for WAN services?
Sure. So some of the compelling services for WAN technology are taking software and taking many of these legacy appliance-based services such as security, WAN optimization, load balancing, and putting them all in one platform so that you can have one box that has 4 or 5 functions rather than have 4 or 5 boxes.
I think SD-WAN, software-defined WAN, is clearly an up-and-coming sector. I've seen numbers to suggest perhaps as many as 6,000 deployments already globally. Obviously, most of them will be in North America at the moment, but it is clearly coming to, I guess, a WAN near you. It's a major new evolution of managed WAN as well. Whether it's DIY WAN or managed WAN, it's SD-WAN is where it's going, and yeah, I think it promises both cost savings in the first analysis, but also greater flexibility and greater control.
Well, perhaps I'm a bit biased, but the most compelling new technology would be software-defined branch, software-defined security, software-defined networking. And that's exactly what Versa Networks has developed in its secure cloud IP architecture. We've dropped into one piece of software, enterprise class security, enterprise networking in terms of SD-WAN, Wi-Fi wireless access point, and web SaaS acceleration all into one piece of software. And we eliminate the need for multiple networking hardware devices that are really hard to manage and extremely costly.
For me, it's the advent of application-specific connectivity or application-specific networking, which allows us to abstract above the traditional WAN layers, connect applications directly rather than site to site, and therefore provide the end users and enterprises with much higher level of agility, performance, security, and simplicity that the digital transformation is crying out for.
Talking about the role of IoT and mobile computing in the evolution of WAN models, what's changing in terms of service usage and evolution?
Yeah, well, the challenge in IoT is that it historically has used many different kinds of networks from enterprise IT, and I see the network technologies merging with standards. For example, Ethernet and 5G will merge the networks, and the added benefits of virtualization will enable both the service providers and the end users to combine these technologies and use a common platform.
Well, obviously, IoT is a broad church, as they used to say about the Labour Party. And I suppose what we could say about IoT is that there are multiple IoTs within it. So some of them, I don't know, factories or something, you know, manufacturing automation, M2M as it used to be called. A lot of that might well be wireless within the facility, but then it's very quickly going over a fixed link back to wherever. Not so, of course, connected vehicles. And that's really where the cellular technologies come into play, with LTE being, I suppose, the one that we all hope will see most take up, or some forms of cellular technology and connectivity at least will be where the way it goes is the way it's going already for connected car and vehicle generally. So I suppose that's the first thing I'm seeing. And then I think there's a lot more definition still to be had about whether we want low-powered connectivity for things that, I don't know, connect once a day to send back 5 minutes of rainfall data from the forest, or things that need to be continually connected and sending huge amounts of data because they are continually monitoring or whatever something.
Well, the thing with IoT is that it's putting a very unpredictable load on the network. It's hard to predict how many messages each device is going to admit and where they're coming from, typically from the edge. So the ability to have something like software-defined WAN is really key, because I can change things. I can reprogram a session or a flow with specific packets. I can look into the IoT protocol, which is typically IPFix, and pick that up, and my SD-WAN fabric can learn how to optimize that. And then I can pull the data off the device, which is typically an application that requires real-time performance capabilities. All of that kind of data I have very high granular visibility to through the SD-WAN fabric.
The whole thing with the digital transformation is that it's causing a re-architecturing of the app topology to completely distribute it everywhere, rather than the traditional siloed stacks. And that is pushing the requirements to boundaries that were not previously seen, or at least were kept separate. So for example, with IoT, you would previously have your perimeter on your factory site by having a data diode or some other unidirectional communication, or no outside communication. Now we want to use technologies such as IoT and mobile to connect everything and get value from that data. And therefore, we are compelled to re-architect our network topology to fit in with this approach and to make it simple.
And from the customer point of view, what's driving the search for and adoption of these new models for WAN services?
On the customer side, the same things that drive all technology adoption, which is they want more features for less cost. And so many of these new WAN services, so-called SD-WAN, or whether you have app WANs, they have added benefits, security features that are offered at a lower cost.
In 2 words, it's digital transformation. Every company now has been going through their digital transformation for the last 10, 15 years. The companies that are succeeding are becoming more successful. They're dominating their market, they're creating new products, getting more value from their customers. The ones that aren't, Kodak, blockbusters, they are perishing. Every company needs to become more digital, they need to become more agile, and this predicates that the network goes with it, while maintaining the security and performance that they need.
Is the internet the next generation WAN? And if so, where does that leave the WAN industry and all the carriers and service providers?
Well, I think most of our enterprise customers think of the WAN as a cloud, because they really view their network as the cloud enabler. The next generation apps that they want to run closer to the edge, the nature of traffic today is more coming from outside in to the branch office. So in the case of Versa, we actually, in our management platform, we can actually populate all of your cloud instances, all of your conduits to infrastructure as a service, even multiple clouds, that appear as though they are any other node on the network. So to the operator, behind that single pane of glass, it looks, you're setting a policy up as though you were setting it for one device or one node. In reality, you're setting it up for multiple transport methods, whether it's MPLS, ISP, or cloud, and you're establishing uniform policies across that entire fabric. So I think the short answer to your question is yes, I think we are there, that the internet is the next wide area network. It has to incorporate cloud. There cannot be any demarcation between on-premise and off-premise, on-premise and cloud, or co-location networks or what have you. It all has to appear as one simple to deploy, simple to use network.
Fundamentally, they have a strategic decision to make. Back when the cloud became popular, they had all the infrastructure, they had all the capability to become AWS or Azure, and they decided not to make it, and they said only crazy people would go here. They need to make the same decision of, do they want to be someone that owns a utility which provides value but is low margin, and potentially retrench into their national markets or places where they have unique value? Or instead, do they want to be able to provide the capability that customers require, whether it's delivering ASN or instead using their networks but building software on top of them and using APIs and making them interoperable so that if a customer does need an MPLS, they can have the same experience that they have off AWS. They can go on and they say, I want to click here, 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 and it does it in minutes, not months.